I am studying cybersecurity and digital forensic from the University of Dodoma. And in my paper, says the evaluation of machine learning algorithms in detection of malware-based phishing attack for securing email communications. The agenda for this presentation include the introduction, problem statements of the area of study, the objectives, so significance of the study, literature review, where we can look on some of the related works in the gaps between the studies in this area, in this field. Also, there are some of the methodology that were used in executing this paper. There's a resultant evaluation, integration machine learning model, and concluding with conclusion in the future work. It is obvious known that phishing is a type of social engineering where an attacker sends fraudulent messages designed to trick a person into revealing sensitive information. This is dangerous, actually, and it is because it is happening. Many of the people, it is happening throughout the email communication. Of course, not only email communication nowadays, even by the normal SMS. But in this study, we are going to look on the phishing that occurs in email communication. Apart from phishing, the category we are looking into this phishing is malware, which is a malicious software created and used by cyber attackers to disrupt the computer system and gain computer access, gather sensitive information such as passwords, credit card information. Phishing is a cybercrime model where there's various studies like by Kara Cruel in 2018 explained well about how phishing occur in relation with cybercrime, where an attacker impersonates a real person and the institution advancing them as an official person. Therefore, it is among the major threats to internet users that are difficult to track down or defend because they do not appear to be malicious in nature. Yes, the attackers or the spammers or the phishers are very intelligent because they try to craft the email which resemble the actual email. So that is where the problem starts to be, because it is very difficult to defend, even if there are various mechanisms, various techniques which are being deployed in order to defend or mitigate the issue. Attackers usually send malicious attachments or URL links through phishing emails and usually send in back, and they can even track the number of people who opened or clicked the emails. By clicking on the fake attachments, it results in installation of malware onto a computer or handling over credential. And if it happens, the malicious attack spread into the local area networks, it can go to various users' computer, and the damage can be even more to users. Usually, features are conduct the attack either by deceptive attacks or through technical subterfuge by tricking means. Therefore, if you can see in this diagram, phishing attack can be categorized into two parts, which are deceptive attack, technical subterfuge, and each of the two has subcategories. For example, in deceptive, we can see phishing, we can see spoofed website, we can see phone phishing, we can see social engineering. But if you can see also in the technical subterfuge, we can see now malware-based, DNS-based, content injections, middleman in the middle attack, URL attacks. But in this study, we are going to look up on malware-based phishing so that it can help in mitigate the spreading to the emails. When we talk about the problem, why the phishings are continuing to be the problem? Why the phishing? Despite several mechanisms and techniques that have been deployed, such as email filters, to ensure that the fraudulent message never meant to enter into the user inbox. So in the ideal situation, because there are phishing and there are several mechanisms or techniques that were being deployed in order to mitigate, but the reality is the spreading of phishing attack is becoming huge. Machine learning techniques are one of the most advanced methods we all know for detecting phishing attack, because most of the attacks have some common characteristic that can be identified. So we can say ideally when the machine learning algorithms with high accuracy that perform well in detection is integrated with the email filter, affecting phishing attack should have been mitigated, but it is not the case. So despite the several techniques which are in place, phishers have advanced their method to escape detection through obfuscation, where they tend to hide themselves and using different techniques for for them not to be detected. If you look on the statistics provided by the, for example, anti-phishing working group in third quarter of the last year, 2021, it showed the number of phishing attacks has doubled from early 2020 to this to the considerable amount of numbers, and it was in the highest in the phishing working group history. If you look also in the other statistic, for example, provided by the Tanzania Communication Regulatory Authority in Tanzania, it shows the number of malicious attack is generated showed an increase from monthly basis. As from early 2020, we all know there was a spreading of corona pandemics, and the statistics show that phishing attack has been increased from that time because of that COVID-19 related contents. So these findings are, are the causes that led researchers to pay more attention in this study, but there were weaknesses and limitations that had been observed that could be the problems of phishing to be spreading in a big number. There are some of the studies I mentioned here, for example, in Mena and Godora, Rashid et al., Ramin Zahera, all have tried to deal about the detections and mitigation of phishing attack, but somehow there's it was not much successful. This trigger to keep on researching and enhancing accuracy of detections. That's why if you check the very latest studies, the studies are continuing so that to find a good way of mitigating the attack. But the studies, like from Alkali, it says there's no single solution of phishing problem due to heterogeneous nature of the attack. As my contribution for this, I am intending to narrow the scope and specifically deal with machine learning algorithm in detecting malware-based phishing attack, identify feature used in order to improve detection as per the scope. So when you go on the objectives, it is set away to evaluate machine learning algorithm in detection of malware-based phishing attack for secure email communications, starting by identifying the features, evaluate the effectiveness of the machine learning detections techniques based on the identified measures and metrics. The metrics we will look on, the metric usually will look ahead in this study. Then I propose the enhancement in the best performing machine learning algorithm that could be applied in the phishing or email filters or anti-phishing, so that it can add detection of the phishing and mitigate them. Significance, I intended to enhance the QML communication, enhance of email security filters. Finding from this study, I expect also to contribute to the body of knowledge in the area of machine learning, and also to provide recommendation for future research work that can be extended by other researchers in this field. This scope, I can go, okay. If you look on this feature, they show the detailed technical subterfuge with 6 sub-attacks, phishing attacks. They show where the attacker is positioned somewhere, try to distribute suspicious email to users with malicious attachment, malicious URL, and send via emails. And if it happens, the users in the local area network probably, if the emails enter into the user inbox, they can download and probably tricking them to send information which are needed by those attackers. But our intention here is to try to avoid these emails so that they can even not reach the user inboxes. So the fighting phishing approaches and the common algorithms were also looked in the literature review. And each of the studies, in terms of related works, there are some of the various works, related works in the paper, but I can just highlight the three here. For example, from Rastenis et al. In 2021, he's tried to analyze the existing spam and phishing email classification, which focus on the solution of email classification written in only three languages, English, Lithuania, and Russia. The study showed how language translation was well adopted, but the study was not able to demonstrate if the proposed solution is suitable for other language, like our native language, which is Swahili, and how the email classification performance is affected when adapting to feature optimization. Another related works, probably from Motherland, also last year, discussed the comparative analysis of disclosing fraudulent emails using various machine learning methodological analysis, along with the suggested concept, with consideration of various evaluation metrics such as accuracy, efficiency, error rate, and the others. But it was also the weakness, which you can see in this paper, or not able to demonstrate how efficient developed algorithm was able to perform at best. Although a hybrid algorithm was suggested as the best and most feasible solution, the study focused only on spam detection and classification. Thus, there is a need to focus on and draw contrast in malware-based phishing detection using malware machine learning algorithms. The other one from Okumura proposed a new method. The accuracy rate of feature used in the study did not increase much because the spam dataset used to contain only spam and not malicious phishing. So there's a small gap here where we can talk and ensure that the data set we use to contain some of the malicious and phishing to see if the detection can be improved. Thus, when we combine all the other related works, we can conclude that there is a need to balance the data set when conducting a study for malware-based phishing to include malicious and phishing other spam data sets so as to increase the accuracy of detection. There are other studies, as I said, from Alsaz, Shahara, Baki, et al. You can see in the paper because it has been detailedly explained. Research gaps we can see, first of all, it seems the continuous advancement of technologies play a bigger role in terms of the spreading of phishing, the spreading of spam, the spreading of this. The studies have shown inconsistency and drawn different conclusions in the research findings. That is where the problem started, where the problem is, in such that the detection has been affected. Most of the approaches that are currently in place, none can be confidently now confirmed to provide the best and most reliable solution. So there is a need to use different concepts, check where the weakness is, so that there's an improvement in the detection. Research, the approaches, the methodologies I used are systematic data reviews, reviewing all the academic papers, articles, books, and the likes. Also through the experiment, using machine learning algorithm and tools, involved in data collection, data processing, and also the final one is the enhancing the machine learning model based on the features and best performing. In summary, we can see in this figure that there is a literature review, data collection, data processing, training the model, improving the machine learning, and finally integrating now with a spam filter for detection and mitigation of spam. In terms of data collection, there are primary data used, there are secondary data used also from different sources like Alexander Rank, Fish Tank, Link Spam, and Spam Assassin. Also, there is Enron dataset and the cargo phishing email dataset that were used. And if you see, I tried to summarize from the 4 sources that I used, together with the number of datasets that contain spam and the harm. You can see the percentage in the percentage of spam or harm in the collected data. Of course, around 20, 30, 50, and 13. Therefore, supervised learning method were used and the method were trained with known data and tested with unknown data to predict the accuracy and the other algorithm performance measure. You can see here the sample, or of course I used the Python tool. as you can see in the terminal, of course, some of the modification of the algorithm, terminal, and data, so that I just presented a few here. For example, in terms of cargo data, where there is about 5,000 data set, 5,500 data sets, with the spam 747, which is about 13%. And in terms of result evaluations, I used the machine learning like knife bias, supported vector machines, artificial neural, k-nearest neighbors. In terms of performance evaluation, there is accuracy, precision, and recall. You can see in the experiment that there's no need of, okay, we can see the definition of this performance metrics. But when the experiment was conducted using the 4 data sets explained previously, this one, the 4 data sets, and the average was taken. And it can be summarized in this table where you can see now from the seven machine learning algorithms. And if you see in the diagrams, the two machine learning algorithms were seen with a good performance, especially in terms of F1 score for 94.8, and multinomial knife bias, which has 88.35. And you can say, considering the best performing, you can see even when you try to calculate the confusion matrix, where you can see the confusion matrix of the best two performing, you can see in this table. Now, by conclusion, is you can see the best two algorithms were a little bit modified in terms of data set, increasing the number of the number of data sets, especially from malicious content. As you see, if you could refer from the gap, it is seen there was not balance. The data was not balanced in the previous study. So, before there is not a big difference between the support vector machine and my knife bias, but the one which is more performing, which is support vector machine, can be now integrated with anti-phishing so that it can detect the spam, the phishing spam and the harm, as it can be shown in this diagram. So by concluding that, we can say the study was conducted with the experiment of datasets from different sources and the average calculated. It was clear from the result that SVM support other algorithms, including closest rival. The two best performing algorithms took a considerable computational time than the others, despite the depth of dataset. So that was another area where they needed some of the improvements, so that the computational time is not such a huge. Nevertheless, a hybrid algorithm seemed to be the best and feasible solution for phishing email detection, as recommended in other previous study. So the two which were best performing can be hybrid, combined together, so that they can be for more detection of the phishing email. The future work that can be extended in the study involve enhancing the model with more evaluation parameters for effective phishing detection and secure email communication for users. Thank you for listening.